Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We're going to talk about the Royal Rumble here in just a few moments. And
let's
what it all
get this
means.
out of the way first.
What are we getting out of the way? I was going to mention Friendo Club TV.
I'm giving you your tip of the cap for winning G1 this month.
Can I just ask this? You have the Goofy hat on. Can you say congratulations in Goofy's voice, maybe?
No, I don't. The only thing I can do in Goofy voice is the sound he makes when he falls.
That's the only rude thing I'm going to say. Yeah.
Well, okay.
We said we had. Could it have been fun if you did the Goofy voice with congratulations? Chat, can you ask Larson to do the Goofy voice?
You asked. Just because more people ask doesn't mean I could do something I literally cannot do.
Can you just make the Goofy sound when he falls?
There you go. Happy now?
Yeah, very happy. Thank you.
I made the sound of my own failure this month. That pleased you?
You came up with, I know, I hate when you win too. I understand it. It boils. But we had a terrific month-long, and this was your idea. It was a great idea. Month-long predictions for all the events that we covered during the month. And you took some risks. You fell way short. Enforcer really had me sweating today, man. But in the end, I came out ahead, and I'm the new. This Big Red's back there. I'm gonna come pick him up tomorrow. I'm gonna give you a bunch of these cookies.
Yeah, give me my cookies.
I'm gonna give you your cookies.
I took some risks. It's a new thing. We're gonna start doing this every month. So rather than try out different strategies halfway through the year, let's try something out this month. Didn't work.
Yeah.
Let's try to spice things up a little bit. Didn't work. So be it. A little bit.
Yeah.
So be it.
Okay.
So here on out, now I know what to do. And
now you know what to do. Now you know. So yeah. Well, now I have.
Let's. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. Good job.
So let's plug Friendo Club TV. That's our new channel on the YouTubes. It's where we put our predictions for the Rumble there because it's short form stuff that does better on its own channel rather than this channel. This is our podcast channel. We have another channel for shorter stuff. That's Friendo Club TV. If you're interested in us doing shorter content, give us a sub there, please.
Yeah, it's a new thing. It's sort of evolving. We're figuring out what we're gonna put there. Well, like you said, we put the prediction stuff there. It's Friendo Club TV, and go sub to that channel. We're going to put a lot of new content, but also funny clips from Going in Raw. What I think we realize, man, is that, doing the live stuff on Twitch, there's a lot of sort of shorter content, a lot of just funny shit that happens in the pre-show, during the show, stuff that might get sort of buried into the podcast. We're just taking it out and we're clipping it. We're putting all the good stuff over there. The podcast is still here. Jim says it's about time. I agree. We should have done this a long time ago.
Probably.
We got best moments from Smash Zone going there, predictions, all sorts of stuff going on there. We'll probably talk about that a lot more in the coming weeks because we got some ideas, some video gameplay stuff. Old 10 for the win type stuff is going to go there. Some classic intros, et cetera, et cetera. So it should be a lot of fun. So far, it's gotten a pretty good reaction. And yeah, check it out, Friendo Club TV. All right, man, enough of the plugging away and all the silliness.
Yeah, let's get into this. So obviously from the reaction we got in our chat during our stream at the tail end of the Rumble, at least the men's Rumble, was not exactly met with praise.
Yeah, right.
With Brock winning, I understand why they did it, I guess, because that's the A story in the company now, him and Roman. They could have motivated that match without Brock winning the Rumble and gave someone else that moment to close the show. You have Randy in his hometown, Randy Orton, St. Louis. Could have had him win. Could have had Big E win. Both of them were eliminated kind of unceremoniously. I mean, Orton got a couple RKOs in, but otherwise he was not in the match very long. But I think for me, the larger problem with that particular match, let's jump right into that match, I guess, is that they spent TV time setting up a bunch of stories for the Rumble, and by and large, didn't let any of them play out. You had Dom come out early. He was eliminated before Ray got in the ring. You were teasing some friction between the Street Profits. Didn't see any of that. You spend TV time doing this stuff, then do something with it during the actual match.
So I agree with that totally. To me, that's actually a separate issue than Brock winning the Rumble, because you have all these little stories you're setting up. But did you notice the one thing about this year? There was nobody, everybody was declaring, but there was never anybody who was like, oh, that makes sense. Besides Brock.
Well, that's kind of the thing is they set up all these little stories amongst people who had slim odds of winning the match.
No odds. Yeah. Like Ray and Dom weren't going to win.
Yes. Street Profits weren't going to win.
Yeah.
I can go on with all the little stories they set up. Austin Theory, we heard he does have a great showing. No chance he was going to win.
Yeah.
And so you go into this and you're like, okay, well, if Brock isn't in the Rumble, who's it going to be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that necessitated. So like you and I, and especially me, I know I firmly was like, okay, I know Brian Alvarez had said they're not going to do title for title at Mania. That to me screamed biggest match. It really did. And I know that that the thing is, man, right now they're trying to maximize everything they can get out of Brock Lesnar. And so that was like, okay, he's winning the match. The stuff about Big E never made any sense beyond it was in the betting odds. But especially like last week, they just dumped him over on SmackDown to replace Woods in the New Day. It's like, there's no chance he's going to win because it doesn't make any sense. No. And honestly, that was everybody. Randy Orton will always have a chance to win because he's Randy Orton. AJ Styles will always have a chance to win because what do you say? Break glass in case of emergency. You have AJ Styles.
Yep.
But like none of them, nobody else had any real chance to win. Drew McIntyre as a surprise return.
Yeah.
If we knew that was the case, that I would have been like, oh, that's a possibility.
He's on SmackDown. Same show as Roman.
Yeah, right.
He wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
And I know with Big E going over to SmackDown this past week, the same logic applies. Well, he's a SmackDown superstar. He's not going to win and thus challenge Roman because it's going to be Roman and Brock.
Yeah.
And I thought I tried to convince myself of reasons why it was still possible. Like, oh, they just did that this week to swerve us.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not going to win because he's on SmackDown now. But no, he is going to win and challenge whoever the WWE champion is at WrestleMania. At the same time, once he moved over to SmackDown, I was like, okay,
yeah,
they're giving up on his main event push right now, which is really disappointing.
After they didn't pick up at all on him losing clean to Seth Rollins, as soon as they didn't pick that up at all, I was like, okay, I don't know why he's so up there in the betting odds. I think it's probably just because he's former WWE champion and it's possible that he can get back in it. But yeah, that didn't make any sense to me, and nothing really made sense to me except for Brock. And he won it. He's their biggest name. He's the biggest deal. People like a lot of the people in our chat, they're going to be upset about that. But the bottom line is he's the biggest star they have.
So let me ask you this. Let's fast forward to WrestleMania. We're getting Brock versus Roman. We saw the turn from Heyman tonight. That turn I was expecting at WrestleMania.
Same,
I was expecting that at Mania.
Yeah.
But from what we heard, the plan was Brock was going to walk into Mania as champion. And I assume that would have meant Roman would have won the Rumble tonight.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And maybe we would have got that turn there. So now that they're kind of accelerating the story a little bit with Roman walking to Mania as champion, Heyman's turn on Brock already happening, Brock walking in, winning the Rumble as I know he's physically obviously not an underdog, but that's kind of the thing. He's the face to a certain degree. He's the underdog. He's got Roman, he's got the Usos, and he's got Heyman all working against him. Is there any chance that Brock walks out of WrestleMania with that Universal title?
No.
I wouldn't think so, but the way they're telling the story.
Well, when I say no chance, I mean he has a 40% chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's Brock Lesnar. Of course, if you write enough zeros on the paycheck, but you and I both kind of figure that right now, especially like Roman versus Seth, that's going to happen probably at Elimination Chamber there in Saudi Arabia. And Seth, they're having Roman check off everybody that he hasn't beat before. And he lost he overbeat Seth Rollins to the point where he lost because he DQ'd tonight. And really that was on the ref because he held Seth Rollins' hand and just put his hand on the rope and then Roman wouldn't release it. But Roman is exercising his demons right now, and that demon is Seth Rollins. And he came out. That was an awesome moment when he came out with the Shield stuff to the Shield music.
That was great.
And it was a wonderful match, and the DQ finish was appropriate for the story.
Yeah.
And that's what Roman's doing right now. So, I mean, early confidence points is on Roman beating Brock at WrestleMania. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how that story progresses now that Brock has run. won the Rumble.
Done a lot of
talking tonight. Yeah.
Done a lot of talking today.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the Rumble, the show itself was fine. I felt bad for Becky and Doudrop because after Ronda Rousey, she did in fact return, won the Women's Rumble. But pyro went off on the WrestleMania sign and it caught fire.
Yeah.
And so they had to lower the sign, evacuate that section, put out the fire, and raise the sign back up. And so Becky and Doudrop are putting on a really solid match, really good match. But unfortunately, the crowd was distracted by a WrestleMania sign that was on fire. Yeah. And then it apparently caught fire again at the end of the show when the pyro went off and it again after Brock won.
Yeah. It did. It happened during a bad time, but also that's a tough follow-up right there because Becky and Doudrop followed the Women's Rumble, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't they? Yeah.
They did. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do the mixed tag match.
Yeah, the
Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Miz and Maryse after the Women's Rumble.
Yeah, same. I mean, maybe it's because that was the match that like everybody knew was sort of just a formality. We all knew Becky was going to win that, and it took a second rope manhandle slam to do it, which was a good finish and it was a good match. But yeah, and even Becky was talking about, oh, I'm so hot, I lit the WrestleMania sign on fire. She's great at that kind of stuff, and her ring gear looked amazing tonight. But yeah, Ronda winning the Rumble. I thought that the thing that I like is, according to Dave Meltzer this morning, he tweeted out, this was in the Wrestling Observer radio, maybe, or Wrestling Observer.
I think he tweeted it. It was a news report.
Was it a news? Okay. That the match is going to be Ronda versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. Once, I read that, it's like, okay, I don't know how full-time Ronda's going to be. I know he said that she signed a contract and everything, but sometimes with big celebs like that, especially ones, she just had a child relatively recently. Who knows if she's going to be there for all the TVs. Mm-hmm. So it made sense for her to win the Rumble because all she has to do now is show up at WrestleMania. She will show up in advance. But with Bianca, I still think that's going to be the match at WrestleMania for Becky.
Yeah, it has to be.
And she's going to have a bit of a path to get there. She's there on TV every week, so it makes sense to give her the story where now you have to get to that match, and Becky's going to be doing everything she can to stop that from happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally.
So it made sense. It made sense for Ronda. I mean, I enjoyed Ronda's first run. It wasn't without its issues. And yeah, I'll be honest. I'm sad that they didn't do like Naomi versus Charlotte. I was disappointed that Bianca or Naomi didn't win the Rumble this year. But I get, again, Ronda's a big name, and that's what WWE is going hard on right now is, hey, what's the biggest names we can get? What's the biggest matches we can make? And Ronda versus Charlotte, in their eyes, is that match. I think it's probably Ronda versus Becky, but I guess Ronda versus Charlotte.
Maybe they think, and I've seen this speculated on Twitter, is that you do Ronda and Charlotte this year, and then next year when Mania is in LA, then you could do Ronda and Becky.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, they've got a bunch of different options there. So yeah, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I loved sort of just on Twitter with all the people that we follow and the friendos and everything, and especially the intrigue that started with Mickie James, who, by the way, was in the Rumble with the Impact title. She came out to Hardcore Country. That was super cool. There was the idea. There was a lot of excitement. I feel like more intrigue this year than most years that we've been doing this because of the idea of the Forbidden Door. And obviously that was the lone, Mickie was like the one person who works for a different company. There was no Cody. You and I thought that was a pipe dream anyways.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen.
But still, it would have been fun if there was some other amount of that. But it's again, then those are spots being taken away from people who were there 200 days a year in the company. I mean, there was people who weren't even in this. Finn Balor wasn't even in this Rumble. That was weird.
Which is mind-boggling.
That was crazy. Yeah, that was nuts.
It really was. I guess we can just jump right into it. The show kicked off with the Universal title bout, Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Seth was awesome throughout this bout. He comes down to the ring through the crowd in Shield gear.
Brilliant.
With the Shield theme.
Brilliant.
and he's just trolling the heck out of Roman,
like
he was on SmackDown, and he was a good portion of this match. He starts out taking it to Roman.
Yeah,
he hits a stomp relatively early. Roman kicks out of that, and then after that, the tides turn. Roman goes on an extended run, and then the finish. You see Roman. He hits a spear, and he's slow to cover. And Seth is looking at Roman. He's selling the spear and laughing, and he puts up the fist. He wants the fist bump.
He wants the fist bump. That was awesome. That was so great.
That was great. So he's laughing, and Roman, he's upset. He's pissed. He goes and locks on a guillotine, and so Seth is crawling to the ropes because Roman's got what they call it, the grapevine, the legs around him.
Yeah.
He's crawling to the ropes, and he's starting to fade, and it looks like he passes out. So Little Nate, the ref, raises his arm to see if he's passed out, and when he does that, when Seth's arm falls, it lands on the bottom rope, and he grabs it. And at this point, Roman is just pissed, so he just starts beating. Oh, he's not letting go of the hold. You have till 5.
He has till 5.
After 5, you get DQ'd, and that's what happened. Roman gets DQ'd, then he goes down ringside, gets a chair, and it's great. They mirrored the Shield breakup really damn well, because Seth is getting up and his back is to Roman. Roman comes behind him and just blasts him with the chair.
Yeah.
And he just starts going to town on Seth with the chair. He even leaves, comes back, hits him a bunch more. Really, really great stuff where Roman, this is the first time we've really seen someone get in Roman's head.
Yeah.
And I felt like it kind of needed to happen at this point because we're adding dimension to the Roman character.
Absolutely. This is the most depth we've seen. It's funny. There's that goofy thing in wrestling, the heel / face turn, and it's like, okay, why are they doing this? Why are they now acting like a different person? Seth has been a lot more evolutionary when it comes to that. You've seen his character sort of morph and change. With Roman, he was gone for a long time because of the COVID thing. He came back. He was basically a different person. And this feud here with Seth, that's why I'm glad. The one thing I'm glad about this with this finish is that it is continuing on this feud, is that Seth is the guy. He's the history. He's the guy who's taking us on the journey of why the hell did Roman change? Like, what is this person? Why is he different? And I think it's really, really strong stuff. Personally, I'm not huge on a DQ like this, especially the way they did it, where Little Nate just basically put the hand on the rope. So that finish itself at the Royal Rumble, where that's supposed to be a big pay-per-view, not huge on, but I understand that there's a pay-per-view coming up. Premium live event that's equal to or greater than WrestleMania, and that's, of course, what are they calling it? Elimination Chamber? Is there like a special term for it?
I don't think there's any sort of special name. I think it's just Elimination Chamber.
Well, it's in Saudi Arabia, which juices it up, man.
In terms of the storytelling aspect of it, I liked it. I like that this is the first time Roman has been presented as this vulnerable.
Yeah.
Both kind of in the ring and then mentally as well. He's always come across as like he's had everything together.
Yeah.
He keeps on saying, I'm in God mode right now. He wasn't in this match. Seth was living rent free in his head.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
And I imagine that's going to continue until Roman gets that win over Seth, probably an Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. If only he had that blonde streak in his hair.
Maybe that would have made all the difference for Seth.
Maybe. Maybe.
It might have. After that, we had the Women's Rumble. Of the two Rumbles, I thought this one was by far the most enjoyable. It had the more surprises and some great bits. Like Ivory showed up in the censor gear, dropping a promo on the way to the ring, and kept on talking as Rhea was eliminating her.
That was
fantastic.
That was fantastic. I really feel like they used the legends better this year than they have in the past. They just felt much more sort of organically inserted into the various stories of the Rumble. I like,
and I like how they went back to the beef that Summer Rae and Natalya had on Total Divas years ago, and used that as a story for the Rumble. I feel like the Women's Rumble, what pushed it ahead of the Men's Rumble, is that they built stories in anticipation of this match, and then they followed through on a lot of them.
Yeah, no, I know that was the big difference. You're right. That was the big difference. That's why the Women's Rumble was a lot more enjoyable, because it felt more like everybody was doing what they were supposed to do. This was the culmination of all those little stories we had. That was Sonya and Naomi, where that great moment at the end there where Naomi got one of her amazing saves, and then Sonya was there, and said, and Naomi was like, please don't do this. Come on. And
yanks her off the apron.
That was
and
then
rough. So he had Molly Holly coming out towards the end, and Nikki ASH, who was kind of lying in wait for a while. She, was out of the ring, just blindsides her on the way to the ring.
Yeah.
Like throws her into the ring steps, puts her back in the ring, and then eliminates her. Like little stuff like that is great.
Yeah, that stuff was really, really good. Let's see here. I thought, man, who nailed Dana Brooke with that? When did Dana get eliminated? She took a move that was just absolutely rough.
Oh, it was Michelle McCool.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was rough
when she eliminated Dana. Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of good, interesting little story bits.
Sasha had some Sailor Moon gear on. I'm sure
she did.
Anime fans would love that stuff.
Yes, and so Ronda Rousey did come back. You mentioned earlier on that Mickie James had Hardcore Country as her theme. She had the Impact.
She had the Impact
Knockouts title.
Yeah, she lasted a little while too.
Yeah, she got elimination. They had Impact Women's Champion on the lower third for her.
Yeah.
The Bellas had a good showing. They eliminated a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, though, so Ronda came in at 28, and so she eliminates Nikki ASH, and then Brie eliminates Nikki. So then Shotzi's out at 29. Ronda eliminates Brie, and then Shayna's at 30, and that's great. Little, like we know the four horsewomen of MMA.
Yeah,
we know about that.
Yeah,
and so Shayna comes out, and her Ronda just have a moment. They're like, all right, and they start working together.
Ronda's face lit up. They immediately went to Ronda. Commentary started explaining it, and Ronda's face lit up.
It was great.
It was awesome.
And so they cleared the ring out, and they're like, okay, now it's time for us to go at it.
Yeah.
Charlotte breaks that up, though. And so Natalya then goes after Ronda. Again, there's backstory there. And so Ronda then eliminates Shotzi. Bianca eliminates Natalya. Charlotte boots Lita out. And then Charlotte also boots Rhea off the apron. And so then Charlotte also eliminates Bianca and Shayna. So Charlotte and Ronda the final two.
Yeah.
And so they kind of have a stare down. No one wants to make the first move. And then Charlotte, for some reason, just sprints right at Ronda. She catches her and just throws her over the top rope.
Yeah.
Pretty effortlessly.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking maybe they'd find a way for Charlotte to lead to Ronda's elimination. She wins the Rumble and then says, I want to face you, Ronda. Just because I feel like, logically speaking, if Ronda's going to come back, win the Rumble, she'd probably want to face Becky because Becky's the one that pinned her at WrestleMania and took the title off her,
Yeah, I know. But like Charlotte, she what's her thing? Her thing is I'm the most decorated woman in WWE history. She's a big deal. I know that was the thing, but I always go back to that gif of Charlotte going over to Ronda when she's in the cop car and knees her in the face. Great in kayfabe, in character, there is so much there between Charlotte and Ronda already.
I guess what they can probably say is Ronda could say something like, I had my one-on-one match against Becky. I probably could have beat her, but then you got involved. And it weren't for you, I would have beat Becky and walked out main event of WrestleMania 35 with both those belts.
I wonder if they're even going to, like in my head and your head, there should be some justification. I don't know if like in the universe there needs to be any justification. It should be like, I'm coming after you. This is SmackDown. This is the biggest show. This is Fox. You are the most decorated person in WWE history. Why wouldn't I go for the top person? And on top of that, Charlotte's probably going to run her mouth on SmackDown, and that enough is going to be for Ronda to come out there and be like, no, it's you. It's definitely
we'll see. I mean, it's entirely possible that even though it's scheduled now to be Ronda versus Charlotte, Vince will change his mind.
Yeah.
I hope not. Because it needs to be Bianca and Becky at Mania, and Bianca needs to win that match. Speaking of Becky, she defended the Raw Women's title against Doudrop next. Again, I felt really bad for both of them. There was a sign on fire or that they were trying to put out during this match. The crowd seemed distracted. They were in there working hard, putting on a good match. The outcome didn't really seem in doubt going into it. But Becky hits a manhandle slam off the second rope to get the win. Doudrop put on a hell of a performance, though.
Yeah,
I hope they keep her involved in the upper mid card of the women's scene for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I agree. I like this a lot. I mean, it's very simple. The thing is, you have that Rumble. People are exhausted. Even if the sign wasn't on fire, this is a very simple match. Doudrop is power. And Becky was selling it, and she couldn't get, and then eventually, finally, she was able to chip away, get that Superman handle slam for the win. But it's like, this is a very basic match. It was a well-told, simple story. But after a Rumble like that, people are just tired. So fire or no fire, if they're distracted or not, they weren't going to be up for this match.
Yeah, they probably should put the
because it's super gimmicky. Yeah, why not put the mixed tag match there?
I mean, the major story beat of that whole story leading up to it was a brick.
A brick.
Hey,
the brick that's a good story beat right there, man.
It
wasn't just a brick; it was a brick and a purse.
Yeah, there was a brood bath too.
There was a brood bath. Edgehead brood stuff going on.
Yeah.
After that, we had Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. This hurt. This match hurt to watch because the suplexes involved. So many German suplexes where they were just throwing these people they were throwing each other
high angle. Everybody landing on their shoulders and their neck.
Oh,
it hurt to watch.
Man,
it did hurt to watch.
And no selling suplexes, no selling stuff, and just preening for. There was blood. Like Lesnar was bleeding immediately, oddly on his side.
Yeah,
of his
he had
nose.
like a cut on his nose, and Lashley got his lip busted open or something.
It was fun though, just meat.
Oh,
just
tons
nothing
of fun.
but meat in this.
Tons
match.
of fun.
Yeah,
tons of fun. So yeah, we got a bunch of suplexes, a bunch of spears. So Lesnar hits Lashley with a bunch of German suplexes. He's looking for an F5. Lashley escapes that, puts Brock in the hurt lock, and Brock's selling the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And this ref in this match, I swear. So he gets himself positioned. So when Brock backs Lashley in the corner to break the hold, the ref's there, he gets smashed in the corner.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
No.
Brock picks up Lashley for an F5, hits it in the process. Lashley's feet kicked the ref right in the face. He tumbles out of the ring. We got a ref bump.
Mm-hmm.
So while the ref's out, Lashley sells that F5. Roman runs out, hits Brock with a spear, and he stares at Heyman down on the floor and just extends his hand like he does when he asks for the mic.
Mm-hmm.
And Heyman hands the WWE title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Roman turns around, blasts Brock with it, throws the title aside, and he and Heyman walk up the ramp. Lashley covers Lesnar. A new ref runs in, counts the pinfall. Lashley got the win, which is great. I'm so happy he got the W.
Which is awesome, yeah. And Heyman's performance here was so much fun. It was so freaking cool. Like, it was like, oh man, like he's doing this right now. I kind of figured if Brock was gonna lose, I mean, I should have put my prediction points on Bobby Lashley, but sometimes like, oh, it's Brock Lesnar, I'll believe it when I see it. Same with Roman. It's like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. And I figured it would be a title shot to Brock's head and then into the hurt lock. But it ended up being Roman Reigns and then Roman Reigns with the title. Cause I was like, I was trying to pick, sometimes I just try to, I don't know if you do this. Do you ever try to picture it in your head? Like to make it make more sense. Like, okay, how's this going to go down? Let me picture this in my head. And watching the idea of Heyman, like using the title against Brock, which is like, that's how it would go down maybe. And his little stubby arms doing that. It doesn't make any sense to me. So the fact that Brock just openly came out there, ran him down, hit him with the title. It always makes me laugh though when you try to think about this. Like, what would they have done if there wasn't a ref bump? Like, would they have just let this match proceed the way it is? How would they have gone?
I know. Or is this thing where they say they have a conversation to work this all out? All right, if we get a chance to do this, then we're going to do it.
Yeah, right.
But if we don't get a chance to do it, guess we don't do it then.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, fun match. Lashley got the win. That's awesome. Then we had Edge and Beth Phoenix taking on Miz and Maryse.
Hey, let me ask this really quick before we move on to the next match. Who's Lashley's guy at Mania? AJ
They could do it.
Styles,
They might do a
Theory.
multi-man match. Maybe it'll be because we got Seth, we got AJ, we got Kevin Owens. Am I missing somebody? Austin Theory's not going to be a WWE title match at WrestleMania, not this year.
Oh, dude, I don't know. He's under Vince's wing. Wait, who are the names? You just say Kevin Owens,
Seth, and AJ. AJ and Lashley is the fresh matchup. That's the one they should do.
I wonder if they're. Yeah, I know, but I wonder.
Because AJ had a hell of a showing in the Rumble.
Yeah, I know, but I wonder. Oh,
or Orton. Maybe they'll do Orton.
No, it's gonna be What's he on? Edge. Is Edge on Raw?
Yeah.
Edge's on Raw. It's going to be Edge. He needs a title shot. Edge will win at the Elimination Chamber, some sort of number one contendership match, or just on Raw. I don't know. Edge versus, that seems like the big match right there. Unless they unless they want to do Edge versus AJ Styles. But I feel like it should be Edge. I mean, he had Universal title matches.
Yeah, he's had 2 of them.
But I could see Edge winning that title.
Maybe.
I mean, we're back to where we were now. Brock's going to be over on SmackDown. We're just back to like a bunch of dudes who are kind of at the top, but they're not Brock Lesnar.
And rather than Seth having the title, it's Lashley. But yeah. This mixed tag match was fun. The brick did come into play.
Oh yeah, totally brick.
Beth Phoenix is apparently impervious to bricks, however, because Maryse just blasts her with it.
Yeah,
she kicks right out.
Yeah, she sold it. Right out. She sold it, but yeah, she did kick out.
So then Maryse.
It's experience, She learns how to absorb brick energy into her head, man.
I guess so. So Beth is looking for a glam slam on Maryse. Maryse escapes that. No, they hit double clothesline. I don't know who they is. So Miz and Edge get tagged in. Edge goes up top. Miz hits him. He's going up there looking for like a superplex or something. Beth then runs in, knocks Maryse off the apron, hits Miz with a power bomb. Edge follows with a top rope elbow, gets 2. So then Maryse runs around, pulls Beth off the apron, tosses her in the ring steps, while Edge pancakes Miz to the mat. He looks for a spear. Miz leapfrogs that. Edge gets posted. And while that's happening, Miz is selling knee because of the leapfrog. Yeah. He's distracting the refs. So Maryse gets in, hits Edge with a Hurricane Rana.
That was sick. And
then hits Beth with a DDT.
That was cool too.
And then Miz hits Edge with skull crushing finale. However, Miz doesn't beat anybody with that move. Gets him a 2 count.
Why does he look so shocked when he only gets a 2 on that? Because he always looks so shocked. It's like, bro, get a new finish. This thing has not worked for years.
Not for years, no. So Miz and Maryse are set up for a double team skull crushing finale. Beth breaks that up with a spear, and then Beth and Edge hit Miz with a double spear.
Yeah.
And then Edge and Beth hit double glam slams.
That was rad.
On Miz and Maryse for the win. Yeah, I love it. That was great.
I love it.
Pretty cool.
I love this married couple shit, man. That's great. I want to see more of it. What's another married couple that they could do?
Oh, Montez and Bianca.
Man, Montez needs to go singles. He needs to go singles. He needs that. He's so good.
He's amazing.
He is.
He was in the men's rumble. That was next. AJ, Nakamura, the first 2 to start, which is great.
Yeah,
Theory was 3. That's cool.
Kingdom. Yeah. New Bullet Club Hunter, Austin Theory.
Yeah. Bob Roode at 4. We got a showdown between AJ and Bob Roode. We got a TNA chant for that. We got
a TNA chant, man. Yeah, absolutely.
And Bob Roode was eliminated real quick.
Yeah.
But again, this is a Rumble match where they set up a lot of stories, and a lot of them didn't play out. Yeah, you got Sammy and Knoxville having a spot. Knoxville did some fun stuff. He came out with
that was
jackass guys.
Came out with the jackass guys. He had a cape on. He was looking very Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
And everybody just started. There was that bit where AJ was like, all right, you're in Jackass. Come on, let's trade some blows. Yeah. And Knoxville fucking stiffed the shit out of AJ Styles. And so AJ lays into him. And everybody just
got their shit in on Knoxville.
Montez got a frog splash. He made sure to do it on his legs, though. And then Ridge puts him on the apron, and he's about to lay him out to get him out of there, and Sammy just runs up from behind with a big haluva kick to the floor, to send Knoxville to the floor, and then AJ comes up behind Sammy, he dumps Sammy.
Yeah, AJ had I think 6 eliminations. He had a really strong showing.
He had a really strong showing.
He was in it until he was eliminated by Madcap Moss, and I think that's another thing I've seen people be disappointed by is you have AJ, who's a top guy, having a hell of a Rumble, going extended run. And no offense to Riddick Moss, I think the dude's got some talent. He's working hard. I don't like the gimmick he's been saddled with, but I think he's trying to make the best of it. You know?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So this isn't a shot at Riddick Moss, but when this Rumble really suffered from outside of Brock legitimate contenders, if you keep AJ in there, build, give him to the final 6 at least.
Yeah.
You think, maybe AJ has a shot at this.
If you have like AJ, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar as your final 4, Crowd's going to be going crazy for Drew and AJ.
Mm-hmm.
You got Kevin Owens in there manipulating shit. That could have been really solid. But you had, Madcap. Honestly, like, Boogs is whatever because Boogs is a face. And, like, I don't think Boogs has, like, go away heat necessarily. Boogs is too weird. He's like not even a human. Like, he's just like a caricature of a person. Madcap and Corbin I don't know who wants to see them. Yeah, every single week, when they're on my TV, I have to make sure that nobody's going to come in because then I have to explain that. And it's embarrassing and it makes me want to change the channel. It's like if I didn't do this for a living, that's when I'd be like, okay, now I'm changing the channel. I don't know why WWE keeps that kind of stuff around. It's like nobody likes that. It's corny shit. Like at least Boogs, is like kind of car wreck. You know, it's like, what is this guy's deal? Why is he wearing a singlet that looks like it's denim, but we know it's not? He's just weird. So it doesn't and on top of that, he's with Shinsuke, and Shinsuke's great. But like Corbin and Madcap, look, I think Corbin's a really good wrestler. Mm-hmm. And I think if saddled with good creative, he could be at the top. But for years, they give him continuously. They give him the worst shit. Remember he was Constable?
Terrible.
And then like blamed him on camera for being like the problems with
Raw being bad. Yeah, I know.
Man. Moss comes in. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say between AJ getting eliminated by Corbin and Moss and then Shane, we haven't seen on TV in months.
Yeah,
coming in and eliminating Kevin Owens. I know they have history together.
People like Shane though.
Do they really?
I think they do. I think that's where we're in a bubble. I don't care to see Shane on my TV, but people pop for Shane. Because, dude, the demographic's old. They all remember like him going through glass against Kurt Angle and doing shit. I don't know, man. I think people like Shane.
Yeah, but that was also 20-some years ago. It's not 1990 or 2000 anymore.
The dudes over at Wrestle Talk like Dan Lambert. Luke and Ollie, apparently. I haven't seen this myself. Maybe I have to watch this with my own eyes because I love those guys and they're great.
Yeah, they're great.
And maybe I wonder if it's like a British American thing. Like if there was some obnoxious dude who was like a Brit, I'd be super into it. But they're over there and they're like, oh, this American guy is hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
As far as surprises for the Men's Rumble, we got Drew McIntyre coming back from injury way sooner than we thought. He came in at 21. Yeah. Thankfully, got Corbin and Moss right out of there.
Yes.
But that probably means Drew's going to be wrapped up in a story with those two guys for weeks.
Most definitely.
Maybe all the way to Mania. I hope not.
Weeks, at least weeks.
Weeks. We had Kofi at 24. I felt bad because all these years he's been doing crazy spots to avoid elimination.
Yeah.
It's the first time it seemingly didn't work out.
Yeah.
He gets pushed off the top by Owens and he's supposed to grab onto the barricade. Unfortunately, his feet touched the ground. He seemed really disappointed.
They had every camera on him. I'm sure he probably practiced this a bunch. But man, he was coming in there hot, you know, and that momentum was just too much.
Yep.
It was sad because he was trying to hold on to it too, and the ref just comes up to him, and it's clear that he's got Vince barking in his ear, saying, "No, TV caught your feet. It's done. You got to get out of here." And then like a little bit after that, Big E comes out, and they were probably supposed to do something cool. Like I think Otis came out after Kofi's elimination.
Yeah.
And then Big E came out. It makes me wonder if maybe Big E was supposed to come out next and then Kofi was supposed to jump on his shoulders or something and get him back in. I don't know, but Big E did not look happy when he came out there.
No.
And he had a really poor showing in the right. He did nothing.
He was unceremoniously eliminated later on. Bad Bunny was in the Rumble at 27.
Army surplus Bad Bunny.
He eliminated Sheamus and Dolph.
Mm-hmm.
Got a destroyer in on Riddle.
Yeah.
Then we had Shane at 28. So Otis eliminates Ray. Shane eliminates Kevin Owens, and Orton at 29. He hits Big E with an RKO, and then he and Riddle eliminate him, and then they eliminate Otis, and then Riddle hit a RKO on. He jumped off somebody's back to hit an RKO.
It was like off of Otis's back to hit it on somebody, but I forget who he hit it on. It was just awesome. It was great. Maybe.
So, anyways, your final four were So they eliminate
Brock,
Otis. The Brock is out of
Drew.
30. So the final 4 is Brock, Drew, Shane, and Bad Bunny. Wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe.
he dumped out. He dumped out Orton, and then after Orton,
then Bad Bunny
was
so
Bad
the final
Bunny,
4
and then
were,
was
Riddle, Shane, Brock, and Drew. Yeah, it all happened
Yeah.
so fast.
Yeah, Shane couldn't even jump out. So Brock did the thing where he's supposed to clothesline him out, and Shane's supposed to jump out, but he was just pouring buckets of sweat. He shouldn't be in the ring anymore, man.
No,
He shouldn't.
no.
But people pop for Shane.
Finn Balor could have been in that spot.
He should have
Finn
been in
that
that
spot.
Gunther could have been there. Gunther could have. We could have had Brock versus Gunther.
Yeah, we could have.
Brock is not going to be taking those chops, man. He's like, I'm not going to do that.
Well,
Brock
maybe
doesn't want to
later.
take chops, dude.
Well, I don't think Brock's afraid of getting physical. I think he likes physical matches.
I don't think he wants to take a bunch of chops, man.
I don't know. I think he'd be fine with it. So your final 2 were Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. It was a nice callback to Rumble a couple years back when Drew won, of course, the Mania main event during the empty arena era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brock made relatively quick work of Drew.
Yeah.
F5's him out of the ring.
Mm-hmm. Man, I really hope come October,
Mm-hmm.
the draft happens. They ship Drew back to Raw. Let him have a title in front of people.
I know.
Let him do that in front of people, man. He had that crowd exploded when he won the Rumble before, and he didn't get to have. It was a difference of weeks that he could have had that title win in front of people.
I know.
And goddamn COVID hit. And who knows what would have been the case. Like they settled this guy with a title when they were in front of nobody.
And he did everything he could.
He did
everything he could to
he
carry
could,
that company on his back.
Yeah, he did everything he could. Yeah. So anyways, that was the Royal Rumble. Twitch chat, stick around. We're going to answer some more of your questions here on the live show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll appreciate it. And we'll be back on Monday for our news update from the weekend. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.